What's good? You are now rocking with the Bigs alongside Nick Moreano. I am Herb Howard, checking in from outside of the PNC Center here at Halas Hall. Interesting day today, Nick. Second time the media has been able to come out to the OTA practices. Got to see Coach Johnson out on the field, outside this time.
It was a nice touch. I texted you. I'm running a little late.
Yeah.
Like, are they in the Walter Payton Center? I see them outside. It was kind of refreshing to see the guys on the grass in normal playing fields. But we saw a lot today.
Yeah, we definitely got a chance to see a lot of things go on today. Just continue to see the development. Obviously, all phases of the game, they're installing, their game plans and what they want to do. Watching Ben Johnson kind of coach up the guys. Last week we talked about how intense he was and how he was getting on guys. Cole Kmet, caught probably the biggest moment of that. This week, you continue to see some of that, just harping on the details. He made them reset, get back in the huddle several times. I asked him about that in the post-game press conference. He said, man, we got to make sure we're doing everything right. He said it has to look a certain way, has to sound a certain way for me to know that we're ready to go out here and take care of business. Otherwise, get back in the huddle and do it again.
Yeah, and like you said, we saw that a couple times. We heard a couple of F-bombs come from Ben Johnson as well. That's the thing. It's staying consistent. Yep. We saw that in the first practice. It came out here in the second practice, did the same thing. We also saw Ozzy Trapilo, the Bears' second-round draft pick, running tackle with that first-team offense. Last week, it was Karan Amagaji. Yeah. This week, it's Ozzy Trapilo. But Ben Johnson was asked about that in the press conference right after practice, and he said they are trying some different guys out there as of right now, but you are seeing the second-round draft pick get implemented with that first-team offense there.
Yeah, and there was some talk initially in the process that Darnell Wright might move from right to left. Coach was like, maybe not. Like, he left the door open for the possibility of that. But he said, right now, we want to leave guys where they are, let Darnell stay on the right side, let those other guys battle it out for what happens on the left side. He did reference when Braxton Jones come back, see how that changes things or whatever. But maybe Trapilo gets a legitimate shot at left from the outset.
Yeah, and it's not too surprising to see that right now in OTAs, but it's a good indication that Ozzy's at least picking up what is going on with this offense. Yeah. I thought it was also, I think, noteworthy just seeing Tremaine Edmunds make a bunch of plays in the middle of the field. I think I heard you say it. He's just a large human being to throw over the middle. He got one interception, and then he also deflected a pass that Jaquan Brisker ended up interception, both on Caleb Williams. But Tremaine Edmunds playing in the middle of the field there.
Last week, he spoke to us after the practice on Wednesday, and I asked him during that press conference, did he think that this new kind of exotic defense that Coach Allen likes to run will actually give him more opportunities to create those game-changing plays that people would say, he's kind of been missing, the past couple of years. And I think that's true. I think he's played at a high level, but those game-changing plays, we haven't really seen that from him. I think he's going to move around the field a little bit, maybe carry guys up the seam, or maybe go man-to-man coverage with some guys. It may be more opportunities for him to actually make plays. It was really, really good to see him get the pick and then force the other one as well. Yeah,
so big plays happening from Tremaine Edmunds. I don't know I think we actually talked about this last time we spoke, but is there a quarterback competition? Tyson Bagent and Case Keenum. Hey. We got to hear from Case Keenum today, which was really insightful. Just if you love football knowledge, like he's a well of it. But we saw him kind of get implemented with that second team unit. Tyson Bagent got his fair share as well, but I think they're still trying to figure that out at this point in the season.
Last year there wasn't much of a competition for that backup spot. It was going to be Tyson Bagent's spot. This year, you're bringing a veteran like Case Keenum, because that room was also missing that veteran presence last year. Who is going to show Caleb Williams how to come into this league and be an NFL quarterback? Watching film, I know there's been a lot of talk about that the past couple of weeks, but those are the types of things. How do you translate what Coach just said straight to the quarterback in that kind of player speak? And I think Case Keenum does that at a really, really high level. He talked about, listen, I'm here to compete. He said they didn't guarantee him that he could be the backup. He didn't make it a demand, right? He didn't make it a necessity that was offered to him. But he says, I'm a competitor. I've been competing my whole life, and I've stuck around for a lot of places for a long time. Listen, he's going to come in and compete. He blew my mind at some point during his press conference, though. He said that coming out of Houston, and Case Keenum put up huge numbers in college. If you don't know it, go look it up. He played for that air raid system offense in Houston. He comes out, he says, when I got to the league, there were so many things I didn't know. He's like, rookies just don't know what they don't know. He said one of the things he did not know was that you could run a play, say for instance on the left hash, you could run a play and then move it over to the right hash and then flip it to run the play backwards. He said he didn't know you could do that. I was like, wait, what? Not until you got to the league, you didn't know you could do that? Like, in high school, we could do that. We could run trips right, move the ball over, run trips left, and run the exact same play just the other way. I was like, that is crazy. It's extremely impressive that he's been able to sustain such a career for so long, having entered the league at that deficit. I was blown. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, I mean, it's crazy to think that, that's what some quarterbacks come into the league with, that lack of knowledge. But like, as you said, Case Keenum's been in this league for a long time.
Yeah.
He sticks around and he's won playoff games, but it just kind of shows the learning curve that all these quarterbacks have to take as they go into their rookie season. Is there anything else that stood out to practice? But I know in the press conferences, obviously it starts with Caleb Williams, but anything else from practice?
Yeah, a couple things, but before we do, I'm gonna give y'all a little sneak peek of something that's happening right out here in front of us. I can't show it to y'all, but AA Anthony Adams is getting ready to do those big men in cars things with Joe Tooney. They're setting up to be, when they come out, they're going to be in a white Mercedes-Benz.
Or is that Drew Dahlman?
Or is it Drew?
It might be Drew.
Is that Drew? It's either Drew or it's Joe. Either way, they're about to do the big man in cars things with AA over here. They're setting up. They got some people from Mercedes out here and some camera work going on.
Drew Dahlman.
Drew Dahlman, it is. It is Drew Dahlman getting ready to do big guys in cars with AA.
We're going to be in the background of this?
I don't know. They're going to just run over there. Put us in there. But no, back to practice. One of the things that jumped out to me, man, is continuing this thing of this intense coaching that they're getting and this authentic, every day they're the same people. I saw an interaction. I actually got a video of it. I'll throw it up on my Twitter. But Coach Eric Bieniemy is running the running back drill. They're doing They're just doing some bag work, and Kyle Monangai comes up and it's his turn. And he kind of struggles with the bags a little bit, gets out a little bit slow, and Bieniemy says, "Boy, your ass look like an old man out here," right? And so he laughs about that, goes along. When Kyle comes back, and I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way. People who have played football for certain types of coaches know not to take this out of context. It's no big deal. But when Monangai comes back, right after he told him he like an old man, Monangai's tossing the ball out. He's like, "Man, you love me." Bieniemy said, "I don't love your ass shit, motherfucker." Like those types of interactions, man, that type of, those small things. Homer was going through the back, he had his eyes down. He's like, "Get your eyes up." Like those types of things, just being consistent on the small, minor details. I think that's going to make a difference in that room and across this team.
You know what? Just hearing Bieniemy, not even today, but even going back to rookie minicamp, and also Johnson as well, it kind of we both played high school football. It kind of reminds you of that, where the coaches were on you. And it's beneficial because it's tough coaching. It's what football should be. And I'm just getting reminiscent vibes of back in high school when you would get the exact same coaching.
It's what it is, man. I remember my very first coach when I was 8 cursed me out, like my first day, cursed me out. So it just is what it is. It's tough coaching. You can accept it or not. Obviously, Monangai was perfectly fine with it. Don't take that out of context. I was just sharing a little behind-the-scenes thing with you. But we also got a chance to see Jaquan Brisker out on the grass on the whole field, right? And oftentimes, he was not only playing deep middle, but he was also making the calls out there. You heard him out there loud. He's making the checks. He's making the reads. He's getting all the guys lined up and communicated properly. If there was one dude on the team who I'm most hopeful for that he has a big year, it's Jaquan, man. Obviously, had the year last year with the concussions and being out so much time. He's in a contract year. He's a great dude. I think he's a really good football player. I want so much for him this year.
And Montez Sweat was asked a question about Jaquan Brisker in his press conference. Just do you just hear him? It's like, of course you hear him. Wherever you're at, you hear Jaquan Brisker, whether it's on the field or off the field. But that is a guy, when he's in the defense, Herb, he is a difference maker. Not only in run support, but what he can do in coverage as well. So it's good. It was good to see number 9 back out there being as vocal as he usually is.
Feels good, Nick. I feel like we burying the lead a little bit. We had a chance to talk to 18. QB1 Caleb Williams spoke to the media, had an opportunity to address all the things that's been going on. We heard about the excerpts from some Seth Wickersham's book that's going to be coming out in September, and we've been waiting to hear from Caleb about it. We had an opportunity maybe to hear from him last week. Either he declined or the Bears declined to put him up there. Either way, I feel like they should have got out in front of this thing as early as possible. This week, they go ahead and let him speak about it. And he came out and he usually doesn't
have an opening statement.
He usually doesn't have an opening statement. He usually just gets to the first question. He came with a prepared statement this time.
He did, and I think he just wanted, with his opportunity to get out in front of it, wanted to, even before questions were asked, try to answer some of these as he's going through his statement. And then he also highlighted some things that were maybe misconstrued, like the film watching, for example. That was a big thing. That it's not that Caleb didn't know how to watch film. It's finding a more effective and efficient way to watch film, and that could have probably been better, but he wanted to be out front of some of those things when he went up there and spoke today.
Yeah, he also mentioned that people spoke on all the negative things, if you will, but nobody paid much attention to the fact that once he met with the Bears, he's like, no, I like it here. I want to be here. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
And I think that all that matters. Listen, I don't know if this conversation is even relevant anymore, but he was going to have to address it, right? And so I'm glad he's had an opportunity to do it, as he usually does. He handled himself and those questions very, very well. He gave answers. He gave long answers. Hopefully this thing kind of goes away within a week or so. And then when the book comes out, I think the first week of September, right after they play Minnesota, then it'll come out. It'll come back up again. But at least for now, I hope this kind of goes away in another news cycle or two, because he had a chance to address it. It's not really relevant to this team, this organization, or where he is right now, or where he's going.
And you know what? I completely agreed with him. Like, you're allowed to have those thoughts. Like he said, he emphasized that. Like, those are thoughts that he was having. And just like any father would to their son or mother to their children, it's like, you just want the best for them. So that's why you're having these open thoughts. And, you know, that's fair to have those at that point, especially when he was also reflecting, like, well, when you look at the Bears, they haven't had a 4,000-yard passer. They haven't had much success at the quarterback position. 2 coaches were fired last year. So it's like there was legitimate reasons for him to have these thoughts. But like you said, I don't think this is a story anymore. Once it's past that Monday night opener, it'll come up again. But it should die down, I think, after that.
Have you seen quarterback play around here? Could you blame that boy or his family for having some reservations about coming here? It is what it is. It came out in a weird way. He talked about the timing of it being poor. That's the only. I wasn't going to really ask him anything about this because I'm kind of done with it, to be honest with you. But when in his opening statement, he said, you know, the timing of it was bad. We didn't really want this to come out right now, and that just rung a bell with me. So I asked him during his press conference, I said, well, you didn't want it to come out right now, then. These things were on the record. When did you want them to come out? Did you think they would be more useful for your cause at the time when you guys were having these reservations about coming to Chicago? Did you think you can get some words out through, you know, the media that would say, hey, this is what they're thinking, like, and maybe help you develop some other avenues of places that you could go when you wanted to do that, whether it was Minnesota or other places. He also addressed, you know, why he said what he said about Minnesota. And who can blame him, man? That Minnesota offense has been rolling. Coach is good up there. No issue with. I don't have an issue with none of that, right? It was, to me, the only thing was like, well, y'all lying about it after you got here. Let's whatever. You know what I mean? Just put it out there and be done with it so we don't have to address it a year from now. But either way, he did it. He did a pretty good job of it, and now the Bears will move on. None of his teammates have ever said they had any problem with it. He said he didn't have to really address it to this whole team issue. Montez said if that happened, he don't know anything about that. So everybody's moving on. It's a new regime. It's a lot of new players. Whatever, man. Yeah,
whatever. And like Case Keenum was asked about it. He's like, I didn't notice anything. If you guys didn't bring it up, he wouldn't have really noticed anything about him, how he carried himself, or what he was like in the building. So, again, we were saying it's kind of a non-story at this point, and maybe later down the road it will be.
Couple quick things as we wrap up. There were some absences. Jalen Johnson's not here. I think he's back in California. He's got his camp going on. He also has a golf outing that's coming up. Kyler Gordon, coach, said he's dealing with some soft tissue. Starting to hear that pop up a little bit. We heard about Luther Burden last week as well. No Billings.
No TJ Edwards as
well. No TJ Edwards. Just some guys that are out right now that you kind of want to continue to keep an eye on and see what the attendance thing is like. Montez said he thought it was very important to be here, just coming off of a season where he didn't have the season that he wanted to have, and the team certainly didn't have the season that they wanted to have. He said they didn't go to the playoffs, so those types of situations. Yeah. But there are some guys who aren't here yet. Not a huge deal. I'm not making it a big deal, but do want to let y'all know who was here and wasn't here in terms of some of the starters. Other than that, man, it's been pretty decent day. The press conferences were good. Coach was good. Caleb was good. And Case was good. Montez is Montez. He don't really enjoy talking to us like that.
Yeah. No, it's true.
He could be a better conversation sometimes in the locker room, but in that form, he answers you, but then let's wrap this up.
What do you make of his complex individual description of Dennis Allen? Because when he was asked about it, that's how he first described it. He thought about it, complex individual, and then he mentioned some of the fronts. They're going to ask him to do a bunch of different things than he's been asked to do in previous defenses. Sure. And I wonder what that does for a guy like Montez Sweat.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's pretty challenging to learn Coach Allen's defense and his systems and what he wants to do, especially what he wants from a player the caliber of Montez Sweat, because he's a guy that you can move around the defense, use him in a lot of different ways. And I can imagine that's a little bit challenging, maybe even a little bit annoying for a guy who's just mostly set and played right in. I know what I'm doing. I'm, pretty generic system in some of the ways. You talk about the cover two, but now he's like, hey, move here, move there, go up there, like those types of things. Could imagine
I'm curious to see what that looks like for Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
Could open up some things for him.
I'll say if he leans into it, it could be hugely beneficial for him and the defense. So we'll see how that continues to develop. It is very, very early. We're just keeping y'all abreast of all the things that are happening from Halas Hall as they happen. There will be another practice that the media is allowed to come to next Wednesday. We'll catch back up with y'all in between then. In the meantime, make sure you are following Nicholas Moreano on Twitter. Follow me, Herb Howard 411 on Twitter. We'll have some more content dropping for y'all later this week. Look for our written content and the videos as well. Again, that's Nick. I'm Herb for the Bigs Media. Sus.